Hello and welcome to another special edition of the Legal Geeks videos with my partner in geekdom as always, Josh Gilliland. Hi Josh, how are you?
Evening, Jessica.
I know, I do feel like we should have champagne or something. Shoot, now I think of that. Because this is, of course, our year in review, kind of celebrating the end of 2012 going into 2013. Happy New Year's, Josh.
Happy New Year to you.
We're, of course, following the tradition that everyone loves to do, kind of recapping 2012 and looking forward to 2013. For the Legal Geeks, I think 2012 obviously is very special because this is the year that Josh and I met and became geeky partners, right, Josh?
Yes, in July.
Half a year ago. It seems like so long ago now.
So what are you saying? Do you feel like it just like sucked the life out of you? That it just feels like it's been an eternity since we've been blogging and podcasting together? I'm wounded. I'm
Not
hurt.
at all. I just meant that I feel like you're a kindred soul and I've known you forever. That's all. I can't believe it's actually only been 6 months that we've really even known each other.
Good save. Good save.
And it was, and we met thanks, of course, to Twitter, the wonders of Twitter, where all good things happen these days, right? And a few bad.
Yeah, yeah, 10 years ago, if you said, hey, I met a woman online, there would be like immediate questions asked, but now it's like normal. So nothing weird about it at all. So it's normal.
It is normal, but thanks to Twitter, we met and we started the Legal Geeks, and we've had a lot of fun with the Legal Geeks. And so we're going to talk about a couple of our big moments from this year. Josh, since you actually were kind of one of the organizers of one of the big moments from this year, I'll let you talk about that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I'm like just reflecting back, what started it all was, a great opinion by Magistrate Judge
Oh,
Fasciola,
that's right.
in which he referenced, there's a new sheriff in town and this high noon reference, and I did a blog post about that with, highlighting, a bunch of spaghetti western, e-discovery themes. And so again, we can thank the bow tie wearing judge for, inspiring me to write something and then retweeting
It
it
was a
and
very fun
judiciary
post.
honor.
That was a good one. That's right.
Occasionally, magic happens. But one of the other magic things where we actually got to meet in person after knowing each other for several months, just, through webcam, which again would have been weird a decade ago, uh, was at the Paraben Forensic Innovation Conference in Park City, Utah,
Yes.
where it was a rip-roaring good
Yes, it
time.
was.
We had excellent talent, we had amazing attorneys, we had fantastic judges participate,
Mm-hmm.
and, the folks at Paraben are just utterly awesome when it comes to putting together a conference. So we all had homemade treats in our speaker packets, and it was good. It was a really good time, and the content was good.
That's all
And
true, and thanks to you, I got to meet one of those fantastic judges and become friendly now with one of my favorite criminal judges, Judge Serino, of Twitter fame or infamy, I guess.
yeah, he's awesome.
Yes, he is.
And one of the it's neat being able to say like, yeah, he's a friend, and super nice guy. He posted this on his Facebook's, site, but it was a wonderful thing. It's showing how human a judge could be. When Sandy hit and New York is devastated, and power's out, he walked across the Brooklyn Bridge,
Mm-hmm.
from where he lived in, to the courthouse, and he was at the courthouse just checking on things because he's responsible and a good guy. And he saw that there was a couple outside and realized that they were, they had their marriage, they were trying to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And he realized what was going on, and he said, I'll marry you guys. And they didn't initially believe him, and he had to show him his judicial ID. And, and like he performed a marriage ceremony for them. It was just like nice and decent
Mm-hmm.
and highlights the judiciary, and judges, as human beings and doing good things to help people.
That's right.
And because you don't get to hear the good stuff. You just hear them slugging out the horrible problems that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And there was somebody being profoundly good. And he's wicked smart too. So it was all fun.
He's smart, he's a good guy, he loves Star Wars, and he even agreed to do some video posts with us, which I think those are definitely my favorite video posts of the year, were the ones that he chimed in on.
it was neat just sitting there talking baseball with them or going over Star Wars, and yeah, it was
Superheroes.
yeah, it's just it's you don't get to. How many judges do that, and we know there are a bunch of them that are fans of that stuff.
Yes.
You know, that there are judges who are geeks too, and with senses of humor. And there's the old joke that when you become a judge, it's like joining the monastery. That all your friends disappear, and you live a very solitary life. But it highlighted, that there are so many good people on the bench across the country, and it was very reaffirming. Um, One of the other fun parts of Parabon dealing with the other judge that we had, District Judge David Newfer from Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he texted me. It's like, hey, where are we meeting in the morning? And I, as we were coordinating speaking and everything, and I realized I have a text message from a judge. Do I add your honor? I mean, how's this? What's the
YH?
protocol on this?
What's the shorthand you can
Yeah,
use?
how do we handle this? This is a new one for me. So, but he was cool and a lot of fun to present with, and Judge Trino and Judge Newfer, both who have had some very interesting cases. Doing that panel with them and going back and forth and talking about proportionality and text messages and social media, they were just awesome.
They are
So it was
awesome.
definitely.
And speaking of judges and geeky stuff, that actually is a perfect segue into our next discussion topic for this post, which is, of course, our favorite blog post of the year. And I have to say that personally, my favorite was, of course, the one I did on judges quoting Star Trek, because it does show again that, yes, there are a lot of judges who are geeky fans and who have senses of humor and who are in the position to work that love into their opinions. I think I ended up quoting that some of my top, I forget what the number was now, around 10, but there were more. There were many more. The beam me up and the, to boldly go kind of references that judges love to work into their opinions is a lot of fun. And so that was a fun post to do, and it was picked up by io9.com, one of my favorite websites. So that was like a personal, professional kind of highlight for me too.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was so happy for you with the way that took off. It was just IO9, but it exploded on Twitter, and you had different, like, state bar
Yeah.
associations, putting it out as well. It's just like, nice, nice. And it's just, and, you having meetings and co-counsel going like, oh, that was you? I mean, like,
My moment of fame.
that was awesome.
Well, how about you? What was your favorite?
Well, I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't, state it was the Firefly one, because that was the most successful post I've ever had.
It was a
IO9
huge hit.
picked it
That's
up,
right.
and it was, since this is the 10th anniversary of Firefly, Firefly is very active on Twitter, and apparently everyone and their uncle on Twitter who likes Firefly picked up on it, and it had under 2,000 likes on Facebook.
Wow.
I have no idea how many retweets there were of it, but there were a bunch. And there were some very lovely, wonderful comments, and other geek attorneys who absolutely love Firefly, because I only specifically, stated I picked 3 episodes to talk about, because it's nice to leave things for the future and not write a treatise. And then others like tried filling in the blanks with like, oh, how about this one? How about this one? And it was just like, so it highlighted lawyers who were sassy and talking about promissory estoppel, and it was just, it was really cool. It just highlights that lawyers are people.
We are.
Lawyers, we apply what we know to things, and so like that one was a lot of fun. I mean, my Hobbit one was also good.
Yes.
And so that did very well as too. So that was fun.
Well, let's say looking ahead to 2013, obviously there's a lot coming, and there's a lot we could talk about, but if you could name just one thing that you're looking forward to most in 2013 from kind of a legally geeky standpoint, what would it be?
Golly, there's a lot there. I know on just one level, I mean, like, when I saw, The Hobbit opening night at midnight, and, got home before 4 in the morning, which I don't normally do. They had the first 9 minutes of Star Trek Into Darkness,
Oh,
and people were cheering.
yes.
I mean, and so that will raise when you still don't know exactly where we're going with the villain
Mm-hmm.
and who he is, but if it's some spin on the eugenics war that has all kinds of ethical, legal issues, and medical treatment of children and a whole bunch of things that we could see, come into play. So that could be a lot of fun. The other one for me, I'm very excited about Man of Steel.
Hmm.
When they had the preview for that, the big preview before The Hobbit, the audience was utterly silent, and this was an excited crowd beforehand, and then they applauded
Wow.
at the conclusion of the preview. And so when you just think Superman, it's kind of on some level like the Moses story, but it's, like how do they get the adoption? Because
Mm-hmm.
the kid falls from the sky. I mean, like you'd have to create a human being who's an alien, and like so that would there's some stuff you have to do for that, and it's comic books never really acknowledge that
Mm-mm.
stuff, so that'll be interesting. How about you? What are you looking forward to?
I think Star Trek Into Darkness is a big thing I'm looking forward to. Just, I'm a Star Trek fan. I guess I'm not a hardcore originalist because I love J.J. Abrams' reboot. I gotta say, I love Chris Pine as Captain Kirk. So on totally, objective, legitimate reasons. But and I love the new Scotty. I love Zachary Quinto, all of that. So I'm looking forward to Zoe Saldana. So I'm looking forward to the new Star Trek. I think that's going to be really fun. I'd say Man of Steel, Superman. I mean, I love Gene Hackman and Christopher Reeves, but ever since then, I've not been as interested in Superman. So I always found him a little bit. I like the darker superheroes, I guess. The Batman's always intrigued me more than
Hmm.
Superman. But we'll have to see. I haven't seen any trailers yet for Man of Steel, so maybe once I see a trailer, I'll change my mind. But otherwise, Star Trek Into Darkness is my big moment that I'm looking forward to from a geeky perspective.
I mean, and again, since we are geeks, I mean, it'd be horrible not to mention Iron Man 3. I mean, like that would, I mean, the Avengers was so good
Yes.
and so fun because it wasn't a dark story. It was fun, and being able to see Robert Downey Jr. again, as Iron Man in Iron Man 3, where they're going with it, where they're going with the Mandarin, they have a lot of potential. You know,
They do. I'm actually getting a bit Iron Man'd out, but we'll save that for another discussion. So we'll have to see. They kind of were starting to lose me by the end of Iron Man 2, so we'll discuss that. I'm sure we'll have lots of discussion about Iron Man 3, and yes, I want to see what Joss Whedon's going to do next. I'm still holding out hopes that he can now bring back Wonder Woman, but we'll save that all for the future. But in the meantime, I have to say I'm very excited to see what happens when we have a full year to devote to the Legal Geeks instead of just half a year. We've already had a lot of fun and done a lot. So I'm looking forward to 2013 with you, Josh.
as am I, Jessica. We're gonna have a rip-roaring good time, and who knows, we might actually be at 2 conferences together, or maybe even do a CLE webinar. I mean, so the future is not written with where we can go.
We will
So,
go boldly into it, Josh. I will tell you that.